Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Today, on the eve of the plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum, where strategic tasks of the region's development will be discussed, I propose to consider in detail the state of affairs in one of the basic industries, namely in the energy complex of the Far East. We see that the Far East, thanks, by the way, to our common efforts, for which I want to thank you all, is truly the result of our joint teamwork. This development would certainly not have proceeded at the current rate by itself. We see that the Far East is developing at an accelerated rate. In recent years, significant objects, industrial and infrastructure facilities have been created that have actually changed the appearance of the federal district, its economy, and social sphere. New facilities were also opened today. Among them are the Artem Multimodal Logistics Center, the Khabarovsk International Airport Terminal, the first building of the Innovative Scientific and Technological Center, and others. I would like to emphasize that the advanced development of the Far East is, of course, our national priority. We must continue to increase the growth rate, strive to develop the competitive advantages and potential of the Far Eastern Federal District as much as possible. Here, our task is to provide the region with the necessary resources for economic development, including energy resources. At one time, an order was given to prepare a program for the development of energy capacities in the Far East until 2050, as well as to determine the sources of its financing. Today, I would like to hear what has been done and what problematic issues still remain. Among the key tasks is the stable gas supply of the region and all regions of the district. According to the Ministry of Energy, in the coming years, a multiple increase in demand for natural gas is predicted in the Far East. Signs of its deficit in the region are already visible. Providing supplies to new enterprises is sometimes difficult. Meanwhile, these issues should be resolved as a priority and taking into account not only the growth of domestic demand for gas, but also the increase in our export obligations. In the future, one of the main sources of gas for the Far East should be the Yuzhno-Kyreny field on the Sakhalin Shelf. I would like to hear today what the current situation is with its launch. What else would I like to note? Construction of gas transportation infrastructure in the Far East is an objectively expensive project. At the same time, the region has substantial coal reserves. We recalled this at the first event today. In this regard, I believe it would be appropriate to assess the possibilities of expanding coal generation in the Far East. Of course, where it is economically justified and feasible, and of course using modern technologies and in strict compliance with environmental standards. According to various estimates, the region's coal supply is estimated at hundreds of years, up to 900 years. Such solid reserves that it is worth thinking about how to use them. Further, on the development of the Far East electric power industry. Over the last 10 years, electricity consumption here has increased by 28%. I would like to point out that the average for Russia is 14%. i.e., twice as much. This is such an integral good indicator of what is happening in real life. There are no signs of an acute shortage of generating capacity yet, but the company's fixed assets are wearing out. In addition, electricity is supplied to consumers from different power systems, including technologically isolated ones. It is obvious that it is necessary to build more actively electric power capacities in the district and update existing stations. The stages and timeframes for such work should be clearly agreed upon. It is also important to actively develop hydropower in the Far East as an effective and environmentally friendly source of energy. The region's hydropower potential is large and clearly underutilized. At the same time, hydroelectric power plants not only provide reliable power supply to the region, but also provide so-called complex effects for the economy and social sphere, from water supply to flood control, which is extremely important for the Far East, as we know. It is necessary to work out projects for the construction of large hydroelectric facilities and provide sources for their financing. Moreover, I would like to emphasize that such work is necessary, among other things, to preserve and create professional competencies, a school of hydropower engineering, for which, of course, our country has always been famous. I would like to add that such a traditionally strong direction of ours as nuclear energy is actively developing in the Far East. The construction of Primorskaya and Khabarovsk NPPs is planned. Small nuclear power projects are being implemented. These are the Yakutsk and Chukotka low-power nuclear power plants. The construction of another unique floating nuclear power plant is planned. It will have to provide energy to the Baimsky mining and processing plant in Chukotka. Let me repeat, nuclear power plant projects are rightfully considered to be so-called green energy. They have virtually no carbon footprint. Of course, we must continue to develop this promising area. I hope to hear your opinion and thoughts on this matter today. And in conclusion, I will note that the situation in the electric grid complex requires special attention. Due to the growth of energy consumption, the load on the networks increases, and it is obvious that their updates cannot be postponed. We can't wait until everything gets into a difficult state, to put it mildly, and then we'll have to address the Ministry of Finance with some difficult questions about the fact that everything is in such a state that it's taking on the character of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and we need to react to it immediately. Let's do everything in a planned manner. Today we'll talk about this topic in detail.